Heading into the president's fourth State of the Nation address, foreign investors demand reducing red tape so that they can do more business here in the Philippines. With us now for more, live from Portugal, is Chris Nelson, the executive chairman of the British Chamber of Commerce Philippines. So good to see you again, Chris. Welcome to the program.
Yes, very nice to be back, and good morning, Kathy from Portugal.
All right, a very good morning indeed. So how long does it take now to set up a business here with all the what you call red tape that you're now experiencing still as foreign investors?
Well, it takes obviously a considerable time. I think the real issue on red tape is the multiple agencies involved. So you have obviously national government, but you also have local government units. And we're an ARTA champion. We work very closely with the anti-red tape agency, obviously with Secretary Perez. And we want to see this red tape further reduced and facilitated. And that's why, Kathy, we mentioned obviously the upcoming SONA. We want to see the E-Governance Act passed and linked to those to have more efficiency in terms of encouraging companies and even companies here that the processes can be there. So we are very much backing that, and we're looking forward to seeing that being reiterated in the SONA.
Let's get a bit of a baseline here. When did the timelines slide? Because back in 2018, and I do remember this, when the Anti-Red Tape Act was created, the agency promised 3 working days for the simple transactions, 7 working days for complex ones, and 20 working days for the highly technical applications or transactions.
Yes, and they still have those timelines. I think what happens, of course, is that once you transition into some of the agencies, or you also have local government units, and I know that the ARTA is trying very hard here and is working with different groups to encourage this, but we can see a lot more, and that's why we're also looking to have e-governance, signatures digitally, speeding up process is going to assist that. So you're correct to remind you on those timelines. Have they slipped? I think that's still the target, but we want to see this on a more general basis.
All right, so how much of a deterrent is that then, the delays in setting up shop here, past what ARTA can actually provide in a time of comparative advantages? Because that's what changes the whole landscape right now, that's based on tariffs. Now set at 20% for the Philippines, similar to Thailand's, but higher than Indonesia's 19%. And 10 to 15% more for 150 others that have yet to be issued letters by Trump.
Yeah, correct. Look, I think, so first of all, good luck, obviously, to the Philippines, who are currently, I think, in Washington negotiating. But the tariff rate for the Philippines, as you rightly point out, is relatively low compared to others, and they hope to be lower. I think also we should look at advantages within the Philippines. You just interviewed Monabrero. He was with me and the PEZA Director General, Teo Panga, in London on an investment forum, highlighting to companies the opportunity to invest in the PEZA zone. And obviously that includes shortcuts in terms of the red tape, also, of course, in terms of tax benefits with the Create More Act. So I think the Philippines has opportunities, but I would also encourage the Philippines to look at further trading blocks. For example, CPTPP, which is the Comprehensive Trans-Pacific Plan program. I mean, where the UK is a member, and we know the Philippines is planning to try and join that as well. This will allow it to diversify and further grow opportunities in other areas.
Let's take a look at those 3 wishes and just dive into the second one. A couple of governance wishes, in fact, a couple of laws you want passed. How important are they for foreign investors?
Well, I think it's a continuing signal. I mean, what we've seen actually with the Marcos administration is they do highlight priority bills. We have looked at those bills, and then we focus on those which we think will have a significant impact. So the ones we've discussed are e-governance, Cybersecurity Act. We very strongly reinforce this. Cybersecurity is a key issue, not in the Philippines, but across the world. The UK has a lot of strength in that area and can support the Philippines. We're also supporters of the Open Transmission Act, which DICT is just commenting on because there is some concerns over that, because we think the more that you facilitate open transmission and opportunities, that will speed up process. So there are many acts there. What we'd like to see is these priority legislations get passed. And I think that gives a clear signal to investors that the Philippines is planning and moving forward.
Let's look at it another way because you're from the UK, and the UK is the first trading partner to sign off on that tariff reduction deal with the US, which took place in May. What sort of benefits or incentives are there for the Philippines to trade more with the UK, now that the UK's got a tariff reduction deal with the US?
Well, look, I think first of all, I'm making a few points about the UK-Philippine trade. It's at an all-time high. We'd like to see it higher. We're the 61st trading partner for the UK. It's at £3 billion. We've just upgraded this year to what they call a joint economic committee. They had their first meeting in March, led by, from the Philippine side, Under Secretary Alan Gepti. And next year is the 80th diplomatic relations between the two countries. Now, already we have what we call the Developing Countries Tariff Scheme, which essentially, I think, allows almost 90% of the products that go from the Philippines to the UK tariff-free. So what we want to encourage is greater trade and investment between the two countries. We see that with activities such as the PESA Investment Forum, and we intend to grow that strongly. We have a lot of work, obviously, with the British Embassy. We have a new incoming ambassador, Sarah Holton, will be here in September. So if you take all of those opportunities, Kathy, I think there's a great opportunity for both Philippine and UK companies to take advantage of DCTS, to take advantage of the activities. And we see British investors interested in the renewable sector and potentially, obviously, infrastructure projects in the Philippines.
Just as a final point, Chris, I know that you've got a mid-year briefing, the Chamber, with that briefing event with multiple government agencies. What are you intending to achieve in what is scheduled as a post-SONA event, this public-private dialogue?
Yes, look, thank you very much for highlighting. That's on the 31st of July. We'll have speakers from the Department of Finance, the ICT, of course, Department of Trade and Industry. And what we're going to highlight, of course, is the opportunities that lie there. We're going to push for, again, priorities we see. And look, I think there's a couple of points I'd like to highlight. Number one, I think the inflation figures of the Philippines have been a significant improvement. It's 1.4%, which has been a challenge across the world. We'd like to see higher growth rates. I think it's now looking around 5.5. But what we're looking for is to see how we can continue, get momentum this going forward, and reinforce actually the presentations and discussions we just recently had in London last month, as I said, for the PESA Investment Forum. So we're looking forward to a very active event and more particularly bring in more foreign direct investment from the UK.
All right. Well, looking forward to seeing you back here in Manila when it's less rainy. Thank you so much. Chris Nelson
Thank you
of
very
the British
much.
Chamber of Commerce Philippines, live from Portugal.